Welcome to the Two Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James, and this is the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, Day 1. And the first movie that I got lined up for this year's project is a good one. It's been on the list, and I've taken it off the list quite a few times. It was even on the list last year, but a series of unfortunate events decided that I wasn't able to get to it. So I thought it was a good time to do it and to kick off this year's project. It is Teeth. I have a lot to say, so I'm just going to jump right into the categories that I have laid out. And the first up is the premise. The premise of this movie, or the plot, is about this girl named Dawn who is a virgin in high school, who is the spokesperson basically for this group of to promote abstinence and no sex before marriage. And then she finds out that she has teeth in her vagina, or the more correct terminology that they use within the movie, it is vagina dentata. And I do have to say, the way they say that in the movie is hilarious, just the way the lines are delivered and certain music cues and the acting of that particular moments are very funny, to me at least. And that's really the plot of this movie, and she kind of a bunch of guys fall victim to her, but each has a specific reason. A couple times it's in self-defense. One is karma, and then the last one is revenge, because you'll understand. I don't do spoilers, but you'll understand if you see the movie or have seen the movie. And then the acting. Acting is really good. The main actress, Jess Wexler, who plays Dawn, I'm probably saying her name wrong, but she makes everything believable within the movie. It's just, what's going on in the movie is very ridiculous, but she makes it seem very believable, as a nice suspension of disbelief. And then the guys who fall victim, they all are funny, and they all have good moments within the movie. I like when their voices get high when the eventual severing of the manhood happens. It's hilarious. They all have their own different personalities, and they're very funny in their own right, and they both have some very funny lines delivering. And then it's horror month, so I'm going to talk about the gore and the scare factor. The scare factor is more, I think it's for the guys, because of what's going on for the movie. I mean, all the severing of the manhoods, basically. But the gore in this movie is done well. I've seen a lot of horror movies where they're just doing gore for the sake of just being gory. But I thought this was really done really well. I know most of the gore comes from severing of the manhood. I like using that term. But it's done well. It's not overly gory, and in some scenes they do linger on a few shots where blood splurts out. But it's just kind of like oh, that kind of moment. But overall, this movie is really good, and the one thing I do have to say most of all is that this movie was handled well. It really was. It just, in the hands of someone else, it could have been much gorier. If this was like a trauma movie, oh dear God, this could have been so much different. Or if it was given someone else, a more artsy director, it could have been more different. But I think this is a nice balance of tongue-in-cheek, foreshadowing, and just having fun with the premise of the movie, while it's still trying to maintain some sort of seriousness and keep a scare factor and gory, and just have a good fun time movie. And that's what it is, and that's the perfect way to describe it. It's a fun time movie. And so it's time for my classification scale. This is just my opinion. The ranks 1 through 5. 1 is run-of-the-mill horror movie. 2, best watch with a group. 3, more than average horror but adds nothing new to the horror genre. 4, helps move the horror genre forward. And 5, being a horror classic. Now, this movie fits into 2 categories. fits as number 2, best watch with the group, because that's how I first watched this movie, and it was a lot of fun watching it with a group of people. And it's also number 5. I think it's a potential number 5. It will be a horror classic. A little later on, I think it's still. I know it's like 7 years old at this point, but it's still fresh in terms of horror movies. But I think it will be a horror classic eventually, very eventually. But it's definitely best watched with the group. That's the best thing I can say about this. Just load up a bunch of friends and watch this movie. It's hilarious. So that's really all I gotta say. My name is Max James, and I'm gonna go geek out.